From hobby farmers to weekend gardeners and everyone in between, Tractor Supply trusts 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to make shopping more personal. Together, we're connecting over 2,200 stores with 5G business internet and powering AI so team members can match shoppers with products faster.
You're all set.
This is enriching customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
It's time to get inside the Giants Huddle.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
On Giants.com.
I like it, I like it.
And the Giants mobile app.
Boom, give me some juice.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's roll.
Welcome to the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Madelyn, Burke, and Paul Dottino standing by with a Week 10 rapid reaction. The Giants went out to Munich for an international game, playing the Carolina Panthers, falling 20-17. A loss to the Panthers in overtime. And Dots, despite the excitement of the Giants putting together that drive, tying the game, getting it to overtime, the very first play of the overtime period, Tyrone Tracy fumbles the ball. The Panthers recover at the 23 and win it with a field goal.
You can't feel any worse for Tracy, Madelyn. This rookie has done so much for this team. 5th-round draft pick. You look at his numbers on the day, 18 carries, 103 yards, had a 32-yard touchdown burst earlier in the day. He has done everything the Giants could want and more. It's his 3rd 100-yard game of the season. And to be honest, I think he's given Malik Neighbors a run for his money as the best Giants rookie of the year. But then he winds up fumbling the ball, having former Giants, Sean Robinson, former Giants defensive tackle, strip him and give the Panthers the opportunity to kick the winning field goal in OT. So your heart bleeds for Tracy because of all the guys that you don't want to see that happen to because of how well he has done. That's what happens, and that's why the game is what it is.
Absolutely. 103 yards and a touchdown on the day for Tracy. But, of course, the play he's going to be remembering is that one. Had his head in his hands on the sideline, players consoling him. It happens to the best of us, but it was a tough one that lost the game. But, you know, Dodd's talking about the drive before that. Of course, the Giants had won the coin toss, so they opened up overtime with the ball. But the drive before that, Giants got down the field. They had 5 consecutive completed pass plays as they made it all the way down the field, kicked the field goal, Graham Gano, a 42-yarder, to tie this game at 17 and force overtime.
You know, you look at it, the Giants get the ball back with 2:18 to go and no timeouts left. So they know they get the 2-minute warning. And the Giants made use of that. 12 plays, 55 yards. And on that drive, Daniel Jones, I had him down for 8 completions on 11 attempts. Now, that included a spike and it included a throwaway. So he was really 8 of 9. He had 3 passes during a 4-snap stretch that he completed to Jalen Hyatt. So let's not leave his name out of this as we talk about guys who actually provided some kind of spark. Hyatt, of course, getting extra playing time because Darius Slayton was left home with a concussion. So you'd like to think that maybe this is something that's going to get Hyatt's ball rolling in the second half of the season.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New you moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Yeah, talking about players that made the most due to their opportunity today. Jalen Hyatt, of course, 4 for 4 for 39 yards, but also Evan Neal getting the start at right tackle. The first time we've seen Evan Neal on the field this season. He started at right tackle. Jermaine Illuminor moves over to left tackle. According to Next Gen Stats, Neal allowed just 1 pressure on 41 pass plays for the Giants. We talked about it on the broadcast of the postgame show. You didn't hear Evan Neal's name talked about, which is a good thing.
Nah, absolutely. It's always the deal with offensive linemen. If they don't get called out, then that means they've done their job. And the thing about Neal is he comes off that offseason ankle surgery, and he's behind Illuminor during camp because Illuminor took advantage of his opportunity to hold down the job. Now, he did well. So if you're the Giants, why would you take him out? And no matter how much Carmen Brasilla, the new offensive line coach, was working with Neal to try to rebuild him, you didn't know when Neal's next opportunity was going to come. And then when Andrew Thomas goes down and they start plugging guys in on the left side, you're still wondering, well, when's it going to happen? And then surprise, surprise, it happens this week. You had mentioned to me during our MSG postgame show that Next Gen Stats had him for 41 pass plays and only 1 pressure. I mean, can you do much better? The Giants' O-line only gave up, I think, 2 sacks on the day, and I think it was 5 quarterback hits. So to be frank with you, I thought for the most part they played pretty well. And we already told you Tracy ran for over 100 yards. So the line was okay, and Evan Neal certainly did his job.
Absolutely, but it was still a tough loss, 20-17, an overtime loss for the Giants. You know, talk about the defensive side of the ball. Brian Burns earlier this week, after kind of deferring from the question a bit, did admit that, yes, you know what, he was a little extra excited to be playing against his former team. Burns, of course, traded from the Panthers coming earlier in the offseason. Burns, the second play of the game, gets the sack on Bryce Young. But other than that, the Giants defense was not really able to apply much pressure, which is surprising for a team leading the league in sacks.
Yeah, they didn't get that wave, that steady wave of pressure onto the pocket. It was more jagged. And that gave Young an opportunity to find the little hole to step in and then get rid of the ball. The Giants got close a few times. I believe they wound up with the 1 sack by Burns and 4 quarterback hits. That's not enough. And, you know, when you look at this game and you realize that the Panthers had 6 big plays of 20 yards or more, and most of them I think were run plays, but they did have a few pass plays in there as well, the Giants did not hold up well enough and close enough in the secondary. They were going to need that pass rush to get home to help bail them out in the backfield. And they just didn't quite get enough. And I just do want to add one other thing about this, and that is Brian Burns has been nursing a sore groin and I believe another lower body injury now for a few weeks. And he busted his butt today. Got that early sack. Had, I believe, 2 other plays where it was either at the line of scrimmage or behind where he had a tackle. Came out of the game for a play late in the game. He was nicked up, and then he got right back in there and made a play behind the line no sooner than he came out. So Burns has, in my opinion, next to Dexter Lawrence, been the Giants' second best defensive player of the season.
Absolutely. And, you know, even today there was a moment where team trainers had to tend to Burns on the field, but he got right back up and, you know, made a tackle on the very next play. A tough guy playing through the adversity for sure. You know, when we heard from head coach Brian Daboll after the game, he pointed out a few things. You know, the turnovers, obviously a big issue, but also was asked about that flea flicker play in the second quarter, Paul. About 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Giants ran a flea flicker on 3rd and short. Didn't come up with it. Daniel Jones takes a sack, and Dave said, you know what, I wish I had it back.
And I understand why. He's going to go back and say, well, we ran the ball 3 straight times with Tracy. We're down 10-0 in our own territory, and Tracy gets chunks of 5, 11, and 5. Then they get the short pass to Neighbors for 4, and it's 3rd and 1 at your own 49. Now, conventional wisdom says you run the ball there, whether it's a quarterback sneak or some other kind of run. That's conventional wisdom. Dave's probably thought, well, you know what? We're at midfield. We may catch him off guard. Maybe we take a shot in a big play and hit something. I know why he toyed with that idea. But as he said after the game, he wishes he had it back. So I think maybe if he had a chance to do it again, he might have run. I don't know, because the flea flicker took a lot of time to develop. And then DJ Wanham, who is the Panthers' best remaining pass rusher, he just came off PUP, and he's their best pass rusher now that Brian Burns had been traded to the Giants during the offseason. He comes up with the sack on a slow developing play, and that's what allowed that sack to happen. I believe Wan'Dale Robinson on the network replay was frustrated because he was open. But, you know, you can't get the ball to a guy who's open if the pocket's collapsing and there's all kinds of frenzy going on back there.
Yeah, and even Malik Neighbors said, hey, you know, as receivers, we only know we're out there running our routes. We know what's happening in coverage, but we have no idea what's happening in the pocket with Daniel Jones. And, you know, Brian Daboll, wish I had it back, but hindsight always 20/20 when you take a look at these things. You know, talking about the turnovers as well, of course, we talked about the Tyrone Tracy fumble in overtime. The Giants had 3 turnovers. Daniel Jones throwing 2 interceptions, also turning the ball over in the red zone. One of those things that, you know, you just can't waste possessions like that.
Well, the two interceptions are in the red zone. One is on a deflection by Clowney on a short pass to the flat that got picked off early. And then there was the late throw to Tracy along the left sideline where the Giants looked like they might be going in for another touchdown. And then they wind up coughing it up on a pass that was behind Tracy and wound up getting picked off just inside the sideline. Horrible, horrible break for the Giants, and those are two picks inside the red zone, but they also came up empty on a opportunity in the scoring zone when they got to the 29 of the Panthers early in the game, and Gano missed a field goal, a very makeable field goal in the mid-40s. You got to figure he's going to do that. So, yes, inside the 20s, the red zone, but I say inside the 30s, the scoring zone, and the Giants did have 3 trips where they came up empty besides the ones that they were able to score on.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Yeah, tough miss for Graham Gano in his first game back from IR after missing the last several weeks. But again, the Giants falling 20-17 to the Carolina Panthers in overtime. A long flight back home from Munich. Fortunately for this Giants team, they're heading into the bye week, a Week 11 bye before getting back to MetLife Stadium for a Week 12 matchup with those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs, at the time that we're recording this, are playing against the San Francisco 49ers in Week 10. Bucs going into that game with 3 straight losses, but of course, the storyline for the November 24th matchup with these Bucs at MetLife is going to be the return of Sterling Shepard.
Shep, 8 years with the Giants, a fan favorite, a coach's favorite, even a teammate's player's favorite. Almost 400 receptions while he was here. Everybody appreciates what he brings to the table because he's such an energetic guy, such a positive guy, cheering on every one of the players who are on his side. Thought he was going to retire. And then Baker Mayfield, his old college teammate at Oklahoma, says, why don't you come down here? So he goes to Tampa Bay, doesn't make the cut. They put him on the practice squad. Then they decide to bring him up because they got some injuries. So now he's played with Tampa for 7 games. He's had over a dozen catches, has a touchdown reception as well. And I think the reception at MetLife Stadium is going to be really warm for Sterling Shepard.
Hey, Sterling Shepard's not the only one who's chosen to retire in Florida, right? But you know what? He's making the most of his post-Giants career with his time in Tampa. We love to see that. Good things for good players. But, of course, a much-needed bye, a Week 11 bye for this Giants team to get healthy, get well. We will hear from GM Joe Shane at some point this week as they kind of evaluate the first half of the season, and we'll keep you up to date with all the latest news from Big Blue on Giants.com and on Giants podcast platforms everywhere. But that's a wrap for our Week 10 Rapid Reaction with Paul Dottino. I'm Madelyn Burke, and a reminder, the Giants Huddle podcast brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowes.com/terms for full details subject to change.